thank you, Monica, for joining us and everybody else who's here. Um, Monica, I can't even remember how we met each other, but it feels like I've known you forever.
Yes.
I think it was maybe through our books. I just can't remember.
Yes, it was through our books, I think. Actually, I found your book when I just launched mine, and then I sent you a message if we could exchange books, because it was beautiful to find someone, like also writing about IVF and, how to see this community is growing. But there is coaching, but there is not many books about it. And then that's how we connect. And I think it was about 3 years and a half, something like that.
Yes, when time flies, doesn't it? Well, you're absolutely right. A lot of times people don't know that books are out there, and there's so many different ways that we can get support. I mean, everyone has their preferences, and that's why I thought, well, actually, it would be really nice to let people know that books are around for people. So why don't you tell us a little about yourself, Monica?
Okay, so for the ones that don't know me, my name is Monica Bivas. I am an IVF fertility coach and mentor. And how I came to do what I'm doing basically came from my own journey, as most of us, you too. I did, I became a mother of two beautiful girls. They are in vitro. After so many attempts of, becoming a mom, 5 cycles of IVF. My first cycle was successful, which is my now almost 15-year-old Elia. And then all the struggle basically started after the second cycle, that it was canceled. The third cycle was my stillbirth daughter, as most of you know, at 39 weeks. Which was devastating, but also taught me a lot. And then my fourth cycle was a miscarriage, and finally my fifth cycle is another girl that now she's 7 years old. So all of this together took me to where I am now, inspired me to become a coach, inspired me to write my book. And I truly, truly love what I do. I truly love it. And then, this community is in this community is where I really have find, Sheila, the most beautiful, loyal, I can say that, close eyes, and long-lasting friendships. You are a clear example of that. You made me even, you gave me the honor to be one of the collaborators in your series books, and to me, was amazing. So this has given me so much joy. It's incredible that something that is stressing and is hard and it makes us cry, at the same time, give us so much joy.
So tell us why you wrote your amazing book.
Yes, well, one of the reasons that I wrote the book was, as you know, also that IVF cycle demands a lot of, medical tests, numbers, blood tests, and it's basically mathematics, because all relates on numbers, the numbers that are going to give us if we are good in our blood form, in the blood test, our hormones, the growth of our eggs, all of that. And when we entered this path, I didn't know nothing basically. So they, our clinics and the nurses, they explain you a little bit, not too much in detail because they have so many patients. So you catch what you can. And then you want to take notes, and you learn that, okay, the higher the number in this is good, when the egg, the egg needs to grow between this and this, the lining and all of that. So I used to take notes in papers. And then the papers will get lost because I am all over the place. And then if I have a question, I will ask the question in the moment that I will remember. And then when it's the time to go to the RE and ask the question, where the heck is the paper? I didn't find it. And it's like putting more pressure on the already pressures that I have. And then this book came actually after my last in vitro, and I said, I need to create something. And I collected whatever remainings of the lost things that they were not lost. And I basically did it. And what I did, I wanted to make the book not like just boring book for, like charts and all the medical stuff. I wanted to share my story. I wanted to talk a little bit about what in vitro fertilization is. And I wanted to also share things that in my last cycle kind of helped me to keep my mind a little busy, especially during the 2-week wait. So my chapter of the 2 week wait is gonna have here 14 coloring mandalas. Very,
Yes.
very, very simple, like, because coloring was one of the things that I used to keep myself busy. Coloring, journaling, art therapy. So I kind of incorporated there. It has a glossary because also how difficult are the terms. You are like, what? And then you learn.
Hundreds of them.
It has a glossary. It has also the explanation for tax deductibles here in the States, but also if you are not in the States, kind of where to find some, sites that you can find information, a little mini guide of how you can find a good clinic. And it's really not too long. I wish I could do it like, in a binder way, but it's more difficult. It demands more time. And then what I said, if someone has a multiple cycle, which also has a chapter for that, they can take copies. Then you can open a little binder and have it along with the book. Basically, that's why, and all is, compressed in a little book that is gonna basically, you're gonna write your story, and when you have the baby one day or the babies, so you're gonna tell them, this is all what I have to do to get you.
And that is, yeah, absolutely. And that is just because, like you, I just had so many bits of paper, or I had a notebook and then I couldn't find that notebook, so I started another one, and it was just all over the place. So to have something all in one place, and you've done all of the organizing of it, you've put everything in, where it needs to be. You've thought of everything. And I love that it flows in such a good way. And if you use this and you fill it in and you take it along to your appointments, then it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's really such a good idea. And I loved the colouring.
Yes, like the cover and the back cover. And now you also know, and I wanted to make like the little sneak and peek. Hopefully I'm gonna launch my first book of also a series of books just of coloring, is fertility coloring. I am working, on a series of 4 books like you did, but it's only fertility coloring. And actually, because of you, Sheila Alexander, also, she is my illustrator, and I couldn't be happier. So we are crossing fingers with her for being the launch of the first of the series, the first book of the series, for the birthday of my first IVF daughter around the 9th of November. So we are like working so hard because, as I mentioned, coloring, art therapy is such a good thing for anything, So it helped me so much. And it's all related with in vitro embryos. It's all related with fertility. So I love that part because you give to Sheila that idea and she just go and develop it.
And because she's been through it as well, hasn't she? Sheila Alexander, I'm going to get her on here because she's written a comic book.
Yeah.
So, yes, and it's just so nice to get people's different perspective, and that's what I like about your book. It's not just your story, which is absolutely fantastic, and obviously we love about reading about people's stories, and that was like. With my books, the fact that I wanted lots of people's stories because we're all different, and it's everyone's different. Everyone's story is different. Everyone's needs are different, and that's what I love about it. Why there's so much support out there. So
yeah, you are very right in what you mentioned, that even though, in our, like we said in the beginning, in our community, we are all together for the same reason. We are with this struggle of, becoming mothers, but each of us is so unique. And each our bodies is so unique too. This is something that I always encourage women that are going through IVF to look at yourself as a perfect being, that this is not a sickness, this is not a disease, it's just simply something that happened to some of us. I always said, because maybe the God or whatever you call it choose us to get the closest to see the miracle of life. For some reason, he said you, and you, and then we are all here in this.
absolutely. So people who've already used your book, what sort of feedback have they given you, or how can it benefit someone who perhaps hasn't? Because it's not journaling as such, But so what feedback have people given you about the book? How have they found it benefited them?
Yes. So, okay, the book it can be found basically, by the editorial, which is Balboa Press. You can go to the website, but as usual, all the books that we publish are going to be in Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
.com, in barnesandnobles.com, the editorial place, and also in my website. In my website, they have a link to the book. The idea also is that these get along with the others. My next books are going to be published directly by Amazon, which is better also for me as an author. But and you know that, but they can find it there. And listen, if anyone has any questions about the book, about the content, about the structure, I always, Sheila, I like to answer my messages directly, so they can DM me here in Instagram, or they can send me an email. And I am so glad and happy to solve any issue or any doubt that they have about the book.
Great. And have you found people, thanks for telling everyone where they can get your books, have you found that people have used the book while you've been coaching them?
Well, yes, I had actually two clients. I have one finished already. That was so amazing, because when my book launched, I got just right in the moment that it launched one client, and she was like my how you say that, like my tester, like my beta tester. And we went over together, because she was, when I started, the same, so new into this. So even though that she had the book and it's all explained, she used to call me or text me how I could fill this out. And she was close to my house, so sometimes we will get together and I will go with my book and guide her. And now I have another new girl that actually I didn't, I include in her package. My packages of coaching depends on what level you take, because I have 3 different packages. But if you take the one that calls the full pregnancy package, that comes from the beginning to the end when you have a baby, is having the book and also the 2-week wait. So, but my last client, so I gave it to her and she loved it. She said, she didn't even ask me a question. She was like, it's so easy to follow. I just went there and it was like having you in person. But like you said, each of us are unique. And in my actual packages, like I have now, I include my book, and I am including also some books of fellow authors like you. For example, if it's someone new through IVF, I always recommend like a link to go through yours for the first one that I asked, because it's also linked that I think authors, we should support each other when we are dealing with the same subject.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know. Yes, I obviously had my fertility journey as well. How I see it is, I can get the book written, like yourselves. My books are all people contributing. I don't know if people have. These are the two that will work with the IVF and the 2-week wait, and there's a couple more as well. But basically, you can put this together once, but then you can help so many people just by doing it once, and that's just what I love about writing, about
Yes.
being an author. It suits me, and I just think you could just reach anybody anywhere. And we know that infertility is around the world. It's not just in 1 or 2 countries, and so many people are affected by it. And that's why I think it's great that people who have the experience, who know how it is, are all writing books, so many different books. I've already got a huge long list of people who I can have on Needings for Life, so that's really great, just to let people know.
Exactly. And you say something so important, Sheila, that sometimes, there is people that don't have the access, because IVF by itself, for example, is financially so draining. And in a lot of countries, the insurance, the health insurance doesn't cover too much, or maybe they cover. It's so relative. So also to add the coaching, it can be a little bit of extra burden. So having a book from an author, from a person, an individual that had infertility journey too, it's like having a little coaching with yourself. You have some guidance, and that is a big support, because not everyone has that financial access to pay your IVF and then go to coaching. So when we authors, provide this, we are benefiting others, and we are doing something that we also love.
Exactly. And that's why particularly I wanted, guys like yourself, because you've been there and now you're helping people, and that was why I was like, that's why I wanted to do this, really, rather than authors who may be famous and have written a book and talk about IVF or
Yes, no, that's
infertility. I think it's so nice because we're just ordinary people, just struggling and going through the same struggles or have been through the same struggles. So
you just
yeah,
say that. I love to be ordinary people. I trust me. I don't want, well, there is famous people that can inspire and everything, but the best, and that I say it open because I'm honest, I think the best that we can get is from ordinary people like we are, because we can really kind of connect more. The more you grow is beautiful, but when you are almost, you become unreachable, then what is the purpose of it? It's like you are going to start to go crazy and all of that. So our community is not so big, and at the same time is so many in our field that have different approaches. That's the beauty of it. So like ordinary people having ordinary journeys. We live the day by day. We are moms. We went when I start my journey, there was no coaching, there was nothing like we have now. There was no you, not me, no authors, no nothing. So it's beautiful to have that now and be able to help others.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because as we said, there's podcasts, there's blogs, there's videos on YouTube. There's so many ways, and it's really, when somebody first starts their journey, it's so overwhelming, isn't it?
Yes.
Where do you get the information from? Who do you get the information from? And the emotional side of things really doesn't. It is the same, whoever you are, isn't it? The emotions, whether it was 10 years ago or whether you're going through it today, the emotions we feel are exactly the same. And that's why I like books, especially that sort of do great to give medical advice, absolutely, but that's always changing. But the emotions, they just say the same, and it's sometimes very hard to find someone who can understand what it's exactly like. So
true. The emotions are very the same, and this is something that medical today, the clinics are trying to approach and combine, and it's whomever is doing it is getting good results in their in the pregnancy test or their patients, because it was something that it was not handled before.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you got a little excerpt from your book that you'd like to share?
Yes, absolutely. There is really one part that when I finished my book, I was like, okay, I went through all this hell and I cried and everything, but it taught me so much. And it says this, an IVF journey, no matter the end result. And I always put no matter the end result because, it could be one cycle, 2 cycles, multiple. So, and I admire women that don't give up and eventually they end up with their baby on their hands. No matter the end result, negative, positive, or even canceled cycles, takes strength, takes courage, and teaches you to be disciplined. Though expensive and challenging, is a journey to be proud of and worth it of all what you get. That's the part that I love the most because it's so true. We go through basically hell to get out with something that it feels heaven, which is the baby.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's really nice. And I know that, you'll have so much information like that in your books because, as I said, the title of the book, A Personal Journal to Organize Your Journey Through In Vitro Fertilization with Love and Positivity. And that's just, love and positivity, that just sums you up, Monica. It really does. Because
thank you.
I've never, you share so much and you're there for so many people, and it's it's fantastic that connected, that we know each other, and
that's a blessing.
Appreciate it. No, that's lovely.
It is lovely and it is
Oh,
a blessing. Thank you so much for having me, Sheila. It's an honor for me always to share time with you.
absolutely. No, no, likewise, likewise. Thank you for taking your time out today. And thank you for everybody who's joined. I hope you've found it interesting, but please give us some feedback because I plan on doing these probably every 2 weeks at the moment, although I might do them weekly in October because that's Pregnancy and Baby Loss Awareness
Yes.
Month, isn't it? So I'm planning on perhaps doing one every week on books that can help people who are going through pregnancy and baby loss. So, yeah, so let us know if you enjoyed this or not. I will do my best to post it.
Thank you so much. Yes, please, if you can post it and send me the link too, so I can
Yes.
share it in my Instagram. And if everyone has any questions, feel free to reach any one of us. I DM personally all my messages. Thank you, Sheila, and have a wonderful night. Your night and day is still here.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Fertility Conversations. Glad you've
Thank you,
enjoyed it.
Lisa. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Bye.